Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai.
In what seems like the cries of Nigerian electorate against electoral malpractices and the loopholes in our electoral system is about to be over, four notable House of Representative members at the National Assembly, namely Doko Aishatu, APC Gombe State, Ndudi Elumelu, PDP Delta State, Babajimi Benson of APC Lagos State, and Jide Jimo of APC Lagos State will be remembered in history for adding their patriotic prowesses in lawmaking regarding the anticipated new Electoral Act 2021 to be passed into law soon. Welcome to Spectacle. I am Daniel Atai. Stay glued to your TV as this promises to be very educative to the electorate as well as the politicians. Don't go away.
The issue here we have to begin to look at is that at the time of independence, I don't know if there was a trajectory to where we are going to.
But how could it be that credible, free and fair under manual conduct of election?
That is where our problem lies, and that is why people are now saying that, advising that we should move, that the world has gone into digital. We should move from the manual to the digital.
We cannot keep doing same thing and expecting a different result.
The only way you create jobs from your ministry is that you have to encourage local content.
If you look at the profile of Salimama, there is a caveat in this leave given to him. He should seek medical help if he's fine.
Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria.
Welcome back. On Spectacle today is Barrister Joe Amedo. Barrister Joe Amedo is a legal practitioner and a political analyst. Barrister Joe Amedo, you are welcome to Spectacle.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you look moody. Is it your voice or what is actually happening?
No, not really.
It's okay. The much talked about electoral amendment to suit the Nigerian electoral system and practices is about to be passed into law by the National Assembly under the leadership of Ahmed Lawan, the Senate President, and Femi Gbajabiamila, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. But notably are the four persons, and especially the lady,
Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai.
in what seems like the cries of Nigerian electorate against electoral malpractices and the loopholes in our electoral system is about to be over, four notable House of Representative members at the National Assembly, namely Doko Aishatu, APC Gombe State, Ndudi Elumelu, PDP Delta State, Babajimi Benson of APC Lagos State, and Jide Jimo of APC Lagos State will be remembered in history for adding their patriotic prowesses in lawmaking regarding the anticipated new Electoral Act 2021 to be passed into law soon. Welcome to Spectacle. I am Daniel Atai. Stay glued to your TV as this promises to be very educative to the electorate as well as the politicians. Don't go away.
The issue here we have to begin to look at is that at the time of independence, I don't know if there was a trajectory to where we are going to.
But how could it be that credible, free and fair under manual conduct of election?
That is where our problem lies, and that is why people are now saying that, advising that we should move, that the world has gone into digital. We should move from the manual to the digital.
We cannot keep doing same thing and expecting a different result.
The only way you create jobs from your ministry is that you have to encourage local
But
content.
If you look at the profile of Sally Mama,
There is a caveat in this leave given to him. He should seek medical help if he is fine.
Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria.
Welcome back. On Spectacle today is Barrister Joe Amedo. Barrister Joe Amedo is a legal practitioner and a political analyst. Barrister Joe Amedo, you are welcome to Spectacle.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you look moody. Is it your voice or what is actually happening?
No, not really.
It's okay. The much talked about electoral amendment to suit the Nigerian electoral system and practices is about to be passed into law by the National Assembly under the leadership of Ahmed Lawan, the Senate President, and Femi Gbajabiamila, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. But notably are the four persons, and especially the lady, the woman lawmaker, the representative from Gombe State, Doku Aishatu, who sponsored this electoral amendment in 2020. Are we about to see a new electoral processes in the country?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me appreciate you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you.
To come and talk on this very important topic. And again, I also want to appreciate the lawmakers, particularly the sponsor of this bill.
Doku Aishatu.
Doku Aishatu from Gombe State.
Yes.
Yes. You see, the bill, this amendment, in my own opinion, is long overdue.
Okay, it's long overdue. I think Nigerians have been clamoring for it.
Yeah. Ever since the passage of this act, okay, it was passed and assented to by the president in 2010.
Yeah.
Ever since then, there are so many. Probably why we are having these challenges now, maybe because of we personally, the Nigerians, we did not envisage that this thing, what we are passing through now, we are going to happen.
Okay, the Nigerian electorate.
The electorate in general. In fact, I'm talking about the maker, the draftsmen of the law, of this particular act. Of this particular act. Because you should also understand that no law is perfect.
Yeah.
No law is perfect. Perfection only resides with God Almighty.
Okay.
And that is why there is always room for amendment. Once innovation comes up, you will see that laws will be amended.
Yes.
You understand? So, for that reason, I would personally want to appreciate them.
Okay.
They are doing a very nice job. And we pray that the upper chamber, which is the House of Senate, will also give it a speedy an accelerated passage.
So that the president can assent and pass it into law. All right. There are so many related matters that the proposed amendment stands to correct. But before we go into that, we will take the report so that our viewers out there can get the understanding, the vivid understanding of this act, especially those who are politicians, aspirants to various political offices, will take note of this, the proposed amendment, which we believe will be passed into law soon. I want them to have a look at that reportage that Spectacle on TVN has gathered for you from these notable individuals, representatives at the House of Reps. They are using their prowesses to have talked about this act and its amendment. Take a pleasure. The Electoral Act Amendment Bill to be passed into law in the first quarter of this 2021. Recall that a bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act and enact the Independent National Electoral Commission Bill 2020 passed second reading in the House of Representatives at the third quarters of 2020, precisely December. It is otherwise known as Electoral Reform Bill, which was sponsored by Rep. Aishatu Duku of APC, Gombe State. The aims of that bill are: 1. To regulate elections of the federal, state, and local government area councils and other related matters. 2. It sought to make provisions for restriction and qualification for elective office to relevant provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. 3. Amongst other things, the bill, when passed into law, would give legal backing to the use of card readers and other technological devices during general elections and party primaries. 4. It will address limit of campaign expenses and address the omission of names of candidates or logo of political parties. Duku went on to say that this amendment has become necessary because of the flaws observed in our electoral system. It is no longer news that our electoral experiences since 1999 showed a strong correlation between an efficient and effective electoral legal framework and the conduct of free, fair, and credible elections. In fact, amendments of our electoral laws were long identified as priority legislation by the National Assembly because of the need to consolidate on the gains of our democratic achievements and to also address the lacuna identified in the electoral legal framework. A typical example is the case of the Kogi governorship election in 2016, where a leading candidate died after the commencement of polls but before the declaration of results. In addition to this, are concerns that the legal framework on certain issues should be well settled ahead of the 2023 elections, such as the use of technological devices like the card reader and electronic voting system. 5. Also criteria for substitution of candidates. 6. Disclosure of source of funds contributed to political parties. 7. Replacement of lost or destroyed permanent voters card. 8. Penalty for the possession of fake voters card. 9. Dates for conducting primary elections shall not be earlier than 150 days and not later than 120 days before the date of election. The bill therefore seeks to address many loopholes in our electoral system by way of amending over 300 clauses, including new provisions of the Electoral Act 2010. She said Section 3, subsection 2A of the existing Act provided definite timeline for the release of funds to INEC for the discharge of its statutory duties.
According to her, the amendment is an insertion which states that the funds for general elections shall be released to the Commission not later than 180 days to the date appointed for the elections. 10. Citing that the bill stated that when an election had begun and there was substantial evidence of disruption in a polling unit or threat to peace and security, INEC should suspend the election and appoint another date for the continuation of the election. 11. She said Section 30, which provides for notice of election, was amended to state that substitution of candidates in a by-election, except where the candidate of a political party in a by-election dies, the party shall submit to the INEC the name of each substitute candidate within 48 hours of the death of the candidate in the form prescribed by the Commission. Section 36, subsection 1, under death of a candidate is amended as follows. If after the time for the delivery of nomination paper and before the commencement of the poll, a nominated candidate dies, the Chief National Electoral Commissioner shall, being satisfied of the death, countermount the poll in which the deceased candidate was to participate, and the Commission shall appoint some other convenient date for the election within 14 days. And a new subsection 3 is provided. Thus, if after the commencement of polls and before the announcement of the final result and declaration of a winner, a candidate dies, the Commission shall, being satisfied of the fact of the death, suspend the election for a period not exceeding 21 days. The political party whose candidate died may, if it intends to continue to participate in the election, conduct a fresh primary within 14 days of the death of each candidate and submit the name of a new candidate to the Commission to replace the dead candidate. 12. At the floor of the House, the minority leader of the House of Rep, Ndudi Elume of PDP Delta, said that the amount of money required to pick a form and contest election should be reduced to make room for the common man to participate. He said that the House should not allow money to exclude eggheads who could contribute to national development but does not have funds. The rep said that when people spend so much to win elections, they would be more concerned about how to regain the amount spent than good governance. 13. Baba Jimmy Benson of APC Lagos drew the attention of the House to a section that said where the number of votes cast exceeded accredited voters, elections might be cancelled and rescheduled for another date. He said that the word may should be replaced with the word shall to ensure that nobody was disenfranchised under any guise. 14. Also, Rep. Jide Jimo, APC Lagos, said that the section which said INEC may, in quote, use any electronic device in the conduct of elections should read shall, in quote, to ensure uniformity and prevent court actions. In his ruling, at the time, the Speaker of the House of Reps, Femi Gbajabiamila, referred the bill to the Committee on INEC and Political Party Matters for further legislative action, and Spectacle has researched that it is this bill that the Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Femi Gbajabiamila has assured that the National Assembly will pass the Electoral Act Amendment Bill by the first quarter of 2021, which is already in process.
Now, welcome back. That was it. And Barrister, I would like us to, Barrister Joe Amedo is still in the studio, and I would like us to serially perhaps go into it one after the other. Number one of the proposed amendment slated that federal, state, and local government area councils election, another related matter which is the entire body. But number two, say the act sought to make provisions for restriction and qualification for elective office to relevant provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. What do you envisage that perhaps they want to put restriction and add other qualifications to people contesting or aspiring to political offices?
I think before I go into this, I would suggest that we go through it serially, because all the gray areas here are very, very important.
It's in the report already. The report carries the serial.
Okay. So I think the point one by the federal, state and local government, to me, it's a welcome development.
Okay.
Because the issue of local government election, to me, local government is the nearest government to the people.
Yes.
And for local government to experience massive development, the issue of local government election should be taken.
It is known as state.
Should be taken away from the state's electoral body.
Okay.
INEC, the national INEC, the INEC now should be given the power to conduct all the elections,
including states,
including that of local government.
Because it was that was how it was practiced.
Practiced initially in the 1999, with the coming of this democracy in 1999. We personally, it was the INEC, the national body now that conducted the election, and you could see the performance of the local government chairman. Then we had something like Argon, association of one of the most vibrant, association. Then we had the likes of the Comrade Abamorus of this world, the Obla, the present governor of Rivers State, Wiki, and
as their Argon chairman, a lot of them. So the local government election, instead of being conducted by the state INEC Electoral Commission, SIEC, it should be moved to the independent National Electoral Commission. That is a good point. That is a good point, because a situation where the political party on power would conduct election, and everybody in that, no opposition will, not even a councillorship seat.
You will realize in that election you will see, you will feel it that there is nothing like competition.
Yes.
There is nothing like competition.
Or there is nothing like electorate input anymore.
People were not really, the electorates are not really given the opportunity to
elect who they want. Terrible situation. Well, we pray that this law sought to address that also. Number two, the qualifications. What would you want? The Nigerian Constitution stipulates that qualifications, say the maximum, even to the presidential level, is a school cert. All the time we hear people talking about certificate forgery here and there. Is it a crime to even use school cert? Has not been defined constitutionally to us or interpreted by the judiciary, except of recent that we got to know that school cert could even mean primary school certificate, isn't it?
No, the thing is this. Yes, I don't know, because in the Constitution does not really
emphasized
talk about primary school certificate. What the Constitution says?
Say school certificate.
School certificate.
Is primary school certificate not school certificate?
Probably, because even the Constitution even said here, particularly, it is provided for anything qualification for election in Nigeria. Yes. It's provided for in section 65, 105, and 131 of the Constitution. And it provides that for a person shall be qualified for election in the various elective offices if he is a citizen of Nigeria, has attained the age of 35 years, a member of the House of Representatives, if he is a citizen if he's a citizen of Nigeria and has attained the age of 25 years,
okay, not 35,
not 35, that one is saying 25 years, then free, if he has been educated up to at least a secondary school leaving certificate, or
okay, secondary school leaving certificate,
or its equivalent,
okay,
or its equivalent,
okay.
But and lastly, if he's a member of a political party and he's sponsored,
that means the democratic institution, the political party is one of the institutions where through which you can seek
we know our law here does not make provision for independent country, unlike in some of these civilized nations like maybe France and the rest,
and US and so on.
So that is just free. But in Nigeria here, for you to contest, for you to start an election, you must be sponsored by a political party.
Okay. Do you think that apart from secondary school certificate, do you see any loophole to that regard? Okay, why are people, especially politicians, despite this, that they still forge results? Is it that they don't have secondary school certificate? Forge results, and you hear court cases here and there, or is this anticipated bill now, this anticipated electoral act about to add to the secondary school certificate to prevent people from running for certain offices?
No, it is not about, this thing is not really, they are not putting up this clause to prevent some certain people from running.
Okay.
They are saying they want to set a standard.
Okay.
They want to set a standard. And to me, it is absurd for a secondary school leaver, pardon my word,
yes,
for a secondary school leaver to lead the nation like Nigeria.
Okay.
To lead the nation like Nigeria. So, in my own opinion, if they are to bring, state certain qualification in which someone can stand for an election, if I were in their shoes, what I would have done is that, for me, the standard I would set is BSc, first degree, or its equivalent,
or PhD.
It all depends. Okay, let's see
PhD for presidency, at least, so that you would have been vast in terms of technical know-how and everything. You have to have background knowledge of almost everything, especially politics and governance. All right. Number 3 is it, amongst other things, the bill, when passed into law, would give legal backing to the use of card readers and other technological devices during general elections and party primaries. Does that mean that we envisage the usage of other devices, apart from the card reader, other devices, maybe like online voting, electronic voting, and so on, during party primaries and the general elections?
Yeah, when you are making, you also think about future. You make a law that it will be all encompassing in case of future occurrence, maybe future innovation, technology, so that it's this particular provision now, particular clause that will now cover such innovation tomorrow. You can see, and that is when we Nigerians are one of the most smartest people on earth.
Yes.
What we do is just to look at our laws, look at the lacunas, then take advantage of it. And this has been the problem, because the issue of card reader was actually conceptualized by the former INEC chairman, Professor Tahir Jega. It was a nice innovation to me. But because Nigerian politicians realized that this thing we can still do without it, because one, it wasn't captured in our laws.
Yeah, it wasn't captured.
It wasn't captured. It wasn't backed by our laws. And that is why you see, when someone go to court now, and hinge his petition on grounds of the non-usage of card readers, such petition always fail because it is not backed by our laws. And that is what they will tell you.
And I've forgotten the words the judges used to use, that it lacks credibility.
Yes, and should be discontinuance. Do you get? Yeah. So there are lots of judicial decisions in respect of that. First of all, we'll see the case of Ambode versus Jimmy Agbaje of Lagos State, where it was held that no, the card reader is unknown to our laws. It was on that basis his petition was dismissed. Same with that of Governor Kowa and the Great Oboru also. The same thing. In fact, even same with our own the former senator representing Benin South.
Senate President,
yes,
David Mark. Versus Daniel Onje.
No, not even versus Daniel Onje. I think some of the grounds, some of the grounds of Daniel Onje's petition was also that the card readers were not actually used. So that some of those grounds will actually.
So this law,
it is necessary if we want the use of card readers to be effective in Nigeria. This should be our priority. In fact, it should be our number one priority.
The card readers should be backed by the law.
Card readers and electronic voting.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
All right. There is no room for fake card readers. Because although the one of the points still captured it here, but let's go. Number 4 said it will address limit of campaign expenses, limit that you can place for expenses, and address the omission of names of candidates or logo of political parties. I believe you've gone through the excerpt.
I've gone through it, but you can see, but I think there is a particular law that regulates party spending.
I've never heard anything about party spending in the country before now. I used to watch it in American democracy and first world countries where they could even say, how did you get this money? Although in this law,
I think there is a law that actually, acts as check on most of these political parties and associations. The law actually, I think, also mandates them to be publishing their
source of
the annual accounts, the outgoing and incomings and other things like that. There is a particular law,
even before you assume office. Once you are an aspirant and you have been elected by the primaries of your party to become candidate, automatically Bureau, what do you call
Code of
Conduct Bureau will come for you.
No, I think the Code of Conduct of Bureau can only come when you win.
Okay.
The Code of Conduct is just there just to check on the excesses of public officers.
Yes.
So as a public officer, serving the Nigerian government, it is expected that before you go into office, you need to declare what you have.
Yes.
It is mandatory.
Yes. All right. If you look at number 5, it talks about criteria for substitution of candidates. Criteria for substitution of candidate in case maybe during the competition the party wish to substitute candidate for another. The law seems to address that. The expected law will address that. And number 6 is disclosure of source of funds contributed to political parties, the sources of fund, which means if somebody, the political party sponsoring a particular candidate must disclose the source of fund. Do you think that this particular act, this particular number will be allowed to...
This particular clause?
Clause. It's a disclosure of source of funds contributed to political parties. So if people contribute from various quarters to aid your election, you have to disclose them to before the law.
Yes, I think the idea behind this particular clause is just to checkmate corruption.
Okay.
Just to checkmate corruption. You understand? And just to also minimize the issue of vote buying and other things. I think that is just the essence of this debate, because by the time you start disclosing who the sponsor of political parties, it will go a long way in checkmating corruption in the system. Because a lot of people, now when you start making this in public, a lot of people will be scared. Those who normally they will be at the background dishing out money, they will not go, they won't perform because they know the tools. They know what to do. What they normally do is just what they normally do is just, first of all, okay, we'll just subject these people to hardship. Let's just subject the electorate to hardship, so that by the time the election comes, they will be dancing to our tune. All we need is just to go with money. We'll go with money, go and spend the money on the day of election. Because Nigeria, one thing with us, we are the most enlightened, the most educated, the smartest, but sometimes we forget easily. We are so gullible. We are so gullible. We forget about the past.
Quickly, once we see that
once we see cash, money, and that is the tool the politicians have been using against the electorate. Against the electorate, that's just it.
Well, I think we'll take a short break from now, and when we come back, we'll begin from number 7 to the rest. We'll finish the rest, and the barrister in the studio will still do justice to them. Please stay tuned. Don't go away. Welcome back. We are still discussing the Electoral Amendment Act 2021 that will be passed into law soon in the country, and we have excerpt on that which we have played already, and we have a constitutional legal practitioner in the studio, Barrister Joe Amedu, doing justice to the items proposed and more that will be added by the National Assembly before it will be passed into law soon. We are anticipating it, and we believe that it is our responsibility to let you know, keep you informed as we gear towards 2023. Barrister, number 7 of this item, though, we learned that there are more to be added. It's a replacement of lost or destroyed permanent voters card. The law, I don't know how the law wants to